In every era of American history, the economy has been a reflection of its leadership. From moments of great expansion to times of deep recession, the decisions made in the Oval Office have often shaped the nation's financial future. Today, we'll explore the key moments in American economic history as seen through the lens of its presidents.
We begin in the early days of the Republic. George Washington's administration laid the groundwork for a new nation's economy with the help of Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of the Treasury. Hamilton's financial plans, including the creation of the National Bank and assumption of state debts, were key to stabilizing the young nation's finances. But it wasn't until the presidency of Andrew Jackson that the nation's economic divide became clear. Jackson famously destroyed the second bank of the United States, which some saw as a necessary check on centralized power, while others argue it led to financial instability and the Panic of 1837.
Fast forward to Abraham Lincoln's presidency, and we find the country in economic turmoil once again, this time due to the Civil War. Lincoln's leadership during this period included financing the war through government bonds and introducing the first income tax to support military expenditures. Post-war, under President Ulysses S. Grant, the economy entered a period of rapid industrialization, but also faced financial challenges such as the Panic of 1873, driven by overspeculation and the collapse of the railroad boom.
By the turn of the century, America was entering the Gilded Age. Presidents from Grover Cleveland to William McKinley saw an era of wealth inequality, driven by industrial monopolies and little regulation. Theodore Roosevelt, however, changed this trajectory with his trust-busting policies. His administration sought to dismantle monopolistic companies like Standard Oil, opening up competition and paving the way for modern corporate regulations.
One of the most significant economic downturns in American history occurred in 1929, the Great Depression. President Herbert Hoover's laissez-faire approach was widely criticized for failing to stem the collapse, leading to widespread unemployment and poverty. Franklin D. Roosevelt took office in 1933, at the height of the Depression, with his New Deal policies. Through sweeping reforms, including Social Security, job creation programs like the Works Progress Administration, and regulatory institutions like the Securities and Exchange Commission, FDR revitalized the American economy and laid the foundation for post-war prosperity.
After World War II, America entered a period of economic expansion spurred by both the war effort and post-war industrialization. Harry Truman oversaw the beginning of this boom with policies that expanded the middle class, such as the GI Bill, which provided education and home loans for veterans. Under Dwight D. Eisenhower, America saw massive infrastructure projects like the interstate highway system, fueling further economic growth. And in the 1960s, Lyndon B. Johnson's Great Society programs, including Medicare and Medicaid, aimed to address poverty and inequality, though they also came at a significant fiscal cost. But the post-war prosperity didn't last forever. In the 1970s, the country faced stagflation, a combination of high inflation and stagnant economic growth. Richard Nixon's wage and price controls failed to curb inflation, while the OPEC oil embargo of 1973 undercut energy supplies, further dampening the economy. By the end of the decade, President Jimmy Carter struggled with high inflation, high unemployment, and slow growth. His presidency was marked by a national malaise that called for a change in leadership. That change came in the form of Ronald Reagan. His Reaganomics policies cut taxes, deregulated industries, and sought to reduce government spending while defense expenditures soared. This approach initially led to a sharp recession in the early 1980s, but by the mid-decade, the economy was booming again, with lower inflation and rising GDP. As the Cold War ended and the tech boom of the 1990s took off, Bill Clinton's administration oversaw one of the longest periods of peacetime economic expansion in US history. Clinton's policies, including the signing of NAFTA and financial deregulation, would shape the globalized economy of the 21st century. The new century began with crisis. Following the 9/11 attacks, President George W. Bush faced a brief recession, followed by a housing bubble and the eventual financial crisis of 2008. The Great Recession triggered massive government intervention, including the Troubled Asset Relief Program, or TARP, designed to bail out failing financial institutions. Barack Obama took office during this economic downturn and enacted the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, a stimulus package that injected billions into the economy. His administration also saw the implementation of the Affordable Care Act, aimed at addressing healthcare costs, one of the economy's biggest long-term challenges.
In recent years, the economy has faced both growth and unprecedented challenges. President Donald Trump's tax cuts in 2017 fueled stock market growth and reduced corporate tax rates. But the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 led to an economic shutdown like no other. President Joe Biden took office during the pandemic and signed the American Rescue Plan, injecting over $1.9 trillion into the economy to speed up recovery. As the nation faces issues like inflation, climate change, and technological disruption, the question remains: how will future presidents guide America's economy?
The story of America's economy is one of highs and lows, shaped by the vision, decisions, and challenges faced by its presidents. As we look to the future, the lessons of the past will continue to inform how leaders guide the nation through the ever-changing landscape of the global economy. Subscribe for more historical insights and economic analysis.